Hi, Jim Meelan with Event Sound and Lighting. We're going to hook up the Mackie DLM12S powered sub that you've rented. So you've probably got either the Eon 615 top or the Mackie DLM12 top. These are powered speakers. The sub is powered as well. Let's get started. You've got your mixer, your Pro FX mixer. We're going to start with the output of the mixer, which is in the back of the mixer. We've got a couple mic cables. You can see I've ran one already. Here's another one. This is the female end. So we're going to plug that in. And those are going to go down and go into the input of your subwoofer. So from the output of the mixer to the input of the subwoofer. Before we get going on the output, let's talk about placement of the subwoofer. You can have it where you see it here and under the table. You can put it on either side next to one or the other speakers. Sometimes when you have it on the table, you might get a little more subwoofer for what you're hearing if you're actually behind the table, because of the subwoofer has a little backsplash, throws sound backwards. So you'll probably think, God, it's really a lot of low end, but out front it may not be really that bad. So always go out front and listen. That's one of the best things that we tell everybody, is to not always listen on what you're hearing, but go out and hear what the audience hears. So let's go now. We're going to hook up the output of the Mackie powered sub. And if you see the back of it, you'll see it has two outputs. One says high pass, one says full range. The high pass is the one we want to use, and what high pass means is it's taking all the frequencies that the sub is not going to reproduce, throws them up to the top cabinets. And so you'll get some nice low end if you use the high pass. Full range is kind of taking the entire signal, all the frequencies, and it goes right through the sub. The sub uses just the low frequencies, but it also sends the low frequencies to the top cabinets. So you're kind of duplicating stuff, and sometimes that can make it a little muddy because these cabinets don't reproduce it quite as well as the powered sub. So let's take the high pass out. So we're going to go our dual cable that's included. You're going to use the male end, and we're going to plug that in to the output high pass out of the Mackie powered sub. And then the other end is going to go into your top cabinet that you've rented, and either the JBL or the Mackie, whichever one. On the Mackie, let's start with that one. We're going to go into input number 2, and it's a male XLR, and of course you have your power. So input number 2. On the JBL, you can use either 1 or 2. Typically we use 1 on the JBL. The JBL is analog, meaning there's just knobs. Mackie is digital. There's a screen like a digital, like a phone. So let's talk about power, because we've got to get all this stuff turned on. So on the back, by your sub, wherever your sub is, side, middle, whichever, we're going to give you one of these. It's a little 3-way power adapter. You're going to plug the sub in, and you're going to plug each of the top cabinets into here, and it'll sit right behind your sub, and then you're going to take an extension cable that we've included, and you're going to run that right to the wall, plug in. You're also going to have a power strip at your mixer that you can plug your mixer in, and maybe you want to charge your iPhone or plug in something else. Then you're going to have another extension cord to power the mixer, run that to the wall as well. So now let's power everything on. We'll turn the sub on first, and you'll see the screen come on, and it'll come up and it'll say 0. And now let's go up and power up the Mackie DLM12. That screen comes on, and on that one, we need to hit number 2, which is input 2, and then you'll see a volume for input 2. On the JBL, it's a rotary knob, so that's pretty easy. So what we're going to do, typically you have 2 tops, 1 sub. The tops have got a little more power than the sub, so we're going to want to turn down the tops just a little bit. Let's start with the JBL. On the JBL, it's very easy. We can turn it back to maybe about 3 o'clock. So we got a little less top to the sub. And so now you can walk out front, listen, and go, hey, is that good? Is that what I want? If I want more sub, instead of turning the sub up, turn the top down a little bit more. And now let's go back over to the Mackie. And on the Mackie, you're going to hit the up and down arrows, the plus or minus arrows, and you can go back a little bit and take some volume off. Same thing. Maybe click it back a couple clicks and go out front, listen, and see if that balance is good. It's all about the balance. Then you can bring the volume up on your mixer and kind of go from there to see if everything sounds good. And just adjust the top cabinets. Leave the sub probably at 0. And I think everything should work good for you. So I hope you enjoy having the powered sub. It's a lot of fun. I hope this helped you out.